Hello, hey, it is the one and only Ronan, Traveler. Man, salute to all you kings that been rocking out with the channel. Hey, you know what I appreciate about you brothers even more than that is you brothers telling me about your story times. Man, brothers are out here living. They learning the culture, meeting some cool chicks, and just living because contrary to what anybody may tell you, you are not supposed to work yourself to death on the plantation. So I love to see you guys break free. So let me tell you, man, I get asked this question probably twice a week. And the question is, who has the most beautiful women, Dominicans or Colombians? And I say, it's a tie. They both lose to Venezuelans. Let me tell you, man, it's a reason that the Miss Universe contest, the women from Venezuela are always in the top. Let me tell you, the Venezuelan women are some of the most beautiful on the planet. And I had the opportunity to date one for 6 months, and it was one of the best times of my life. So let me tell you, man, I'm gonna give you the story about how I met the girl. Her name was Angelica. She was 29 years old with no kids. And let me tell you, I almost put a ring on that finger. And I'm going to get into the story. But let me tell you, it starts from here. I had just flipped the house, man. And I walked away with a windfall. I had bought a house for like 30 G's. And I put like 5 into it. And I was able to sell the house for $86,000. I walked away after closing with close to 40 G's. So I decided to treat myself. So I gotta treat myself, man. So I went to a resort in Punta Cana. The resort was called the Majestic Colonial. And I almost brought this chick with me, but I decided not to bring sand to the beach. So when I get to the place, man, I must admit, man, the Majestic was majestic, man. Beautiful on the ocean. Man, the waves, just the sound. It was just it's a cool spot, man. And it had this beautiful swimming pool that went around the property, man. It's gorgeous, man. The only downside, it was full of sister girls. You know, people came from the United States. And let me tell you dudes, man, if your old lady, your wife is coming on these girl trips to Punta Cana, let me tell you, man, it's going down. It's slaughterhouse. Dudes are in the ripping them. And I'm telling you, man, I even got down with one, but that's a whole nother story. But let me tell you, man, if they come in on the island, that ham getting glazed up. I'm put it like that. So just be careful with that. So look, I remember the first day I saw Angelica. Man, look, I'm sitting there talking to this dude. He was from New Zealand or Australia. And I remember him because his breath was smelled real bad. His breath smelled like a bag of camel shit. And I remember trying to get him some Tic Tacs. And that breath smelled so bad, the Tic Tac would disintegrate before it even got to his mouth. That's how he was hitting. He was hitting like kung fu. So, and I never forgot that. But while me and him out there, I see Angelica for the first time, man. She was pushing a housekeeping cart, because it's the same thing like the United States. You know, when the foreigners come, they got to start at the bottom. They doing the jobs, you know, nobody else want to do. So she was doing that. She was actually a housekeeping like supervisor. And I run straight to her. I flipped out the chair like a Power Ranger, and I went straight over there to her. And she thought I wanted a towel, and I was like, no, I don't want a towel. I told her, eres guapa. I mean, I'm not telling you, you're beautiful. Then I told her like this: you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. And she started smirking and laughing, and she was blushing. And I asked, could I have her WhatsApp? And she gave me her WhatsApp number. And that's what I like about these women. That you usually can talk to them. You can come to them without any problems. The reason why men don't cold approach no more in the United States, because women are just mean. I hear women all the time, men don't approach me. Y'all are mean. Even if the chick like you, they're mean. They feel like, even you open the door for them, they're just mean. Women are mean in the States, but when you're dealing with women outside the United States, man, they're usually very pleasant. The other nicest woman I met in the United States was Fatima. She was from Morocco, so she was foreign too. So these are the things, man. And talking to her just for that moment, man, I'm like, man. And let me tell you, man, she was gorgeous. She had this copper skin, and her eyes was so beautiful they can melt snow. She had this long, black, straight hair. Like, if you couldn't create her in a lab, I mean, that's how beautiful this woman was. Just, she wasn't super thick. She was slim fine, but just everything that I want. So later that night, we started texting, and she's telling me little things about herself. And she explained to me how the job was, and that you really couldn't be around like the guests. You got to kind of sneak around if you talk to them. She stayed in a room with 4 other women, and what they would do, they were on a rotation. You would do 14 days and go home 7, but she didn't have a home to go to. She just stayed there. Her home was Venezuela. She was stacking money up to open a business in Venezuela, and she was sending half of her check home to kind of help with the family. And she told me her dad was sick, and she didn't know if she was gonna have to go back there or not. But man, as we got to know each other more and more, we started going on dates in my room. She would come to my room at night because you can't deal with the guests. So she would come there, sneak in there, and I would order room service, and we would just kick it in the room, man. And I got to really know her, man. Those were the best times, man. And I got to really, really see how this woman was. And man, she would touch my hand, man. I swear to you, I felt the energy from her. She was just absolutely gorgeous, man. She would be in there salsa dancing with me. She can dance, man. I would be in there grabbing it, and one day, oh girl, give it to me. And like, they gonna give it to you when they want. You don't gotta hound them. But when she did, man, let me tell you, I give her a nickname. Angelica's nickname was the Gripper, because that thing would grip. It would grip. And I remember whenever she took her stuff off, it was scorched earth down there. It was nothing there. And it was so good that I did something I shouldn't have, man. I pull a Jimmy off. I mean, don't do the stuff I'm doing. I'm just keeping it 100 with my brother. I mean, and I wanted to put a junior in her. I mean, that's how it was, just raw and animalistic. I just thought, like, falling for her, man. I was definitely feeling her, man. So that stuff was so good. She had me in there. Body talk, body to me. That's kind of stuff we were going at, man, almost every night. So I'm surprised that girl didn't get pregnant, because God knew I was trying. So I eventually went back to Santo Domingo, and whenever she had her 7 days off, she started coming to Santo Domingo with me, man. And I was gonna get this girl a ring. That's how much I was feeling. Cause we always say, man, just enjoy your turn. But sometimes, man, what you do when you want more than a turn? Like, I wanted more than a turn. I wanted 2 or 3 turns, man. And I think sometimes, man, I've done a lot of bad things in my life, and I think sometimes God punishes me, because every time I meet a woman I really, really like, something bad happens and I got to make a choice. And this kind of what happened with this, man. Man, I'm going to tell you, she would stay with me, and it was just it was the best time of my life, man. But one day we're laying in bed, she's drinking her coffee. These Latin women love their coffee. And one of her relatives that had called, I think our uncle or something, had called and said, man, your dad even doing worse. We need you to come home. And when she hung up, she was asking me about what I thought about it. And I'm like, well, you got to take care of your family. And she was like, well, you don't work. Why don't you just come with me? Why don't you just move to Venezuela? We can open up a business, And she wanted to open up a bakery. And I'm like, man, I don't know. And part of me was scared to go to Venezuela, man. I really was scared. But and look, this whole time, this woman hadn't asked me for any money at all. I bought her a plane ticket to go back to Venezuela, but it was cheap. I did it. But she never asked me for a quarter. So not every woman there is going to be asking me for money. A lot of them will. I'm going to tell you, a good bit of them will ask you for money because you have it and they don't. That's just what it is. So whenever she went back to Venezuela, man, we would talk on the phone. And dude, let me tell you something. This is how I know I really liked her. I was heartbroken. Like, I really liked Angelica, man. I have never, besides her and Fatima, I never really felt like that behind a woman before, man. I was like, I loved her. Like, I was like crazy like that. And I really wanted to go to Venezuela, but I just was scared of it. And as time went on and on and on, we started drifting more and more. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I hate having that wolf spirit inside me, man. Like as we drifted further and further apart, man, I started turning to the wolf, and I started running through women again in Santo Domingo, and it just ended like that. I stopped talking to her, and every now and then now she would talk to me, man. She got a nice bakery going, and even now when I talk to her, she begs me to come to Venezuela. She's like, you will be happy here, just come. And you know what? I told her, if things don't work out for me in Dominican Republic, maybe I will. You know, I'm not attached to no place that much. And if things go left in the DR, I will go to Venezuela, man. And I will let you brothers know how things are in Venezuela, man. But this girl was so beautiful, man, so pleasant. So you can find good women out there, man. Let me tell you that it was the golden time of day every day, man. So you can find a good person, man. Just be careful, because that's what men really want. They want those experiences. And a lot of the brothers I'm talking to every day are finding decent women, no matter what country they are. But first, you got to get through all the scallywags, man. You got to get through the choppy adoras, man, and the mango life. You got to go through all those things until you find you a decent one. And I have a decent one now. I have a pretty good woman now. She does everything I want. It's just part of me that's just never satisfied, man. This is a part of the kind of curse, man. I'm just never satisfied with women like that. I guess your happiness got to come from within, man. So that's all I'm gonna say about that story, man. I'm just breaking down some things, man. I got so many stories. I'm hooked up with so many different chicks, man. And brother told me before, man, I thought you was capping until I came to Santo Domingo. And he's like, man, he has so many women, and that's what it is. You have so many different women, and there's so many different relationships and networking, man. Life is just good, man. So look, I'm out, man. Any of you brothers that's out there want to join the Blue Book Passport Cartel, join the group, man. It is the barber shop. We are out.